I got a question coming in. Must have been a leprechaun. Seemed a little bit bigger than one of the fairies. Trying to steal my fucking pot of gold bones. Anyway, it's out of here. There's a question. It's a hard answer because not all you're going to be mathematicians. Not all you're going to like Jesus's click back in there, and to be honest with you wouldn't know how to handle it anyways, unless you were ready to give it up today. And you could test it today if you were. It'd be a village about shaving coins and flipping over the tables and standing for that kind of thing. And accepting the older lady in here that might have been taught by some shitty-ass masters about the now having a lot to do with somebody remembering your legacy. You know, a lot of that goes under the way, and it's held up by a lot of the fucking army over there about that's where a lot of that goes for training on differentials of the warrior separations into that, but I can't prove any of that to be true. I'd only assume that anything in the ear over the fairy folk for what this does when it plays whatever games I'm thinking about it, how does it go when Granny's interrogating the common standard model. Oh, she been G for a while. Probably do it better than most fucking leaders or drill sergeants, to be perfectly frank. You know, it comes up, but that's not a methodology that's widely known. It's not something that's still 2,000 years later, from 10,000 years later, dealing with something from Wednesday and yesterday. Be the two vector positions you remember, and maybe something to be like, oh, well, I wish that's this. And often, sometimes, wind up pounding on the devil's ear because it goes to a kid like me. Not often, Granny. Don't worry. You would need to know me, have a lot of direct position on it, need to know something about it. And honey, time to tell you the same thing I tell Salty, because you equal in electrons inside of here. The number doesn't play any different. You can have high advantage of understanding that math and be like, well, it doesn't matter how big he is or whatever it is, it fucks up my battle plan. But everybody wants to flip-flap and or NOR gate on a one-line timeline. That's like trying to talk somebody's ear from the valley. That's what you got to plan on now. You do good with that there. I'd imagine if you closed your eyes and you were at peace with some of the systems, it would make a lot easier than the kick on some of that. But that's just by nature a Hellboy on TV, hon. Little potato soup lady. Gets him all fucking fired up, make stuff get crazy inside of there, and next thing you know, somebody's got to step up to put somebody down. And that can be an angel some days. Well, if the vector positions were good and normally they had to come up, there would be reason they'd be pouring flora antimonium. Maybe not at the moment, probably in some reserved place. And it comes up, and certainly would come up on my squeaky. You know, by one of those, you hear it, what makes a sentinel cry? What makes them so happy that they can do that? I mean, honestly, the thing wouldn't be that, or you would have to design it in the negative and the positive. It's going to come off a lot of death is life. A lot of understanding life is burying a lot of people and understanding delta variance on evolution of 0 to 1. And science and math are pretty freaking comprehensive, and usually when you get it, you're not going to be this far out when it first happens. I've called a lot of things over indexes, but it's going to require you at least have some of the basic skills for that region for that thing to pass over. Up to date on the evolution of that thing. And it could be sometimes the local father on stuff, but you got to ask, how much are they getting in town where they respect them like drill sergeant or something where it might come off? And now to be fair, they don't just give it out. It's not something you can have on here when they've told you so many damn stories about it, about Dr. Funtertainment and Disney and why we still have something like that. But of course, their ranks are all fucking broken. I focus on the now. But it's a college and a Senate in 2020. And I try my best to time delete that thing. But the truth of the matter is, I would have to end it today. That's not something I'm going to plan to do because I don't necessarily believe in that methodology. Do I think it's not right? It would be dynamic. Sometimes you got to look at somebody without the thing and say an abortion is the right model for where you are living because the trajectories on those things are not correct. It's going to not just hurt you, it's going to create a drag on the system for the net across the board on everything. That's probably something you've heard in the ear if that what the context of the information was. But maybe not somebody that never had to live under those situations where the gravity was better for supporting that, even if the index put pressure on it. but it goes to your house. Yours connected to that seed you put in your backyard. The watering, food, the output. Not to say it wouldn't grow, but you needed it to do certain things without ever tracking any of those indexes. This is what would make this better. And I can't say that it would be your job to do it. And when I have that over there, potato soup lady, you're 100% right. I mean, I'm talking to you, but it's kind of heavy. I want you to pass this off to the kid if you can. How about the college that says, understand 3D engine? I'm going to teach that the best I can. I try my best to walk around the stone mill because it's the local, been to real schools. It has the real Senate. And nothing wrong with me taking the lead over that because the building is what gives it gravity. The military, 83, I can use that as a spring that determines certain tests to readjust on the value of those things. I can't say it always works, but when somebody scores a 20 on it, you gotta be careful where you're living. We're in the zero of it, almost purgatory. But that's life. The answer wasn't stable at all, is it? Click, 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 click. Make different things happen later instead of just sitting in this system where, well, the 3D engine and the Sims here gets going and I can pause it or I can do anything. Not really much. This is just a paper trade to me making approximations on Cerebro a lot of the times. Well, you're right, this isn't that. That isn't that at all. Ain't that a bitch? It comes off a lot of that way, I'd imagine. Are there kids like 42 out here you can catch me with actually programming it out? Yeah, and I don't often question them. But when it comes time to do this test and explaining that, N1/2 is where they missed it here, it takes a fine art. Right? It's somebody's specialty skill. You know, if you wanted the headstone engraver to do specialties on those instead of just the name, then you're going to have to find somebody. You're going to have to pay a time differential on that, or debt, some way and somehow. Why? Got me swinging. It's just a marker. Vector positions, or whether they're big or whether they're small, black holes or O-type nemesis stars, ones and zeros. They have definite effect on different universe, absolutely. But sometimes I got the little old potato soup lady, and I don't know who you are. If you feel like you're in that vector, good. But it's still up, 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 down, down, up, and down, down. We'll find out that later because I can't help but use a scientific experiment. But you should be. You wouldn't do anything now to alter your life in any way to turn that over, would you? I often tell Salty the Highlander, try that methodology. We haven't done that one before in a while. It'll still come off. It's not going to be this guy in that monkey suit over there wearing camo. I'm just going to do whatever. Why believe me? Because, you know, I had a lot of this in paperwork before paperwork. Just a notebook. Terrifying, I swear. Get it done. Catch you on the next one.